Hey everyone, it's Bree from Massively OP here again with another Star Wars Galaxies video. I know. But a bunch of you guys had actually asked me for this video, and I'm doing it, and it's going to be little, it's going to be short, a brief one that goes hand in hand with an article that is also coming out in my Working as Intended column that's more general, that isn't just about Star Wars Galaxies. That article is all about housing in several different games and the way I do it, the way I implement it, and the kind of tricks that I use from game to game and also kind of in real life that actually just keep working over and over again. So I'll leave a link to that article down in the description box. But in the meantime, I also wanted to do something specific to this house. This is my house on the Star Wars Galaxies Legends Omega server. This is the house I've kind of been living in for the last 2 years online and in MMORPGs anyway. And there are pictures to this of this house like all over that article, but they're all disjointed and out of order since that article is formatted like around topics instead of like room by room for this specific house. So I wanted to just do a quickie video to show each of the rooms and all of the different angles and talk about some of the tricks and fun things and my hot tub. I'm gonna do that too. So this is actually the outside of my house. It's a Tatooine medium, and on Dantooine actually. And I've decorated the outside just a little bit. There's some little storyteller pieces that I put down. Sometimes I don't put them down, but I try to because it makes the outside look a little less bland and gives me like, some stuff out there to look at instead of just grass. But I have a pretty nice view, I gotta say. I'm right outside the mining outpost, so I really like it. And I actually use my house as a shop. It's not just where I live, and most of the houses around it are also mine too, but I kind of just use those for storage. This is the one that I've decorated to the hilt and used all my storage toys on, so there's tons and tons of room in this house for my workshop and all my resources, and well, you'll see, we'll get to that. This is the front hallway. I wish these houses didn't have hallways, but a lot of the houses in Galaxies do just, I think it's a lag thing. I think they were trying to make it so you couldn't like load the whole house like all at once visually. Of course, now our computers can handle it, but it's too late now. So I've kind of left this room alone. There's not a whole lot to it. It's nice and open, except for that fun little lantern thing where I've put a little sparkler in there to make it look animated. This front room is actually like a setup like a cantina. So I've got a little stage there, lots of fun lighting, purple, purple space. What are they? The planets of the Star Wars galaxy. I have them up there. It's just all kinds of musical instruments and that sort of thing. You can actually stand at the Nalargan and play. I have just little circular tables. A lot of this building, I consider it like a tea house because that's what I called it on the live server. A lot of this building is like directly inspired from that original building that I built way back in like 2010, 2011. I lived in that house for a really long time. That was my shop. If you are in Starsider, you may have actually seen it before. Um, but I missed that house so much. And one of the reasons that I wanted to come back to Legends and why I've worked so hard over the last 2 years to like rebuild here to kind of start over on this emulator is because I wanted to rebuild that house. And I actually think I've gotten to the point where this one, I like it a little bit better than the old house. I've learned some new tricks along the way. I'm missing some of the pieces in this building that made it very valuable. For example, I had probably 50 Mustafarian tables, the large ones, flipped upside down, and I kind of use them as floors all throughout the house. That is opulent and extravagantly and pointlessly expensive, so I did not do that here. I have a couple of those tables, but I'm not using them that way, and I don't really think it makes that much difference. It was just kind of like, what else are you going to spend money on when you have billions, right? So here, I'm not quite that rich yet, but I'm kind of trying to be more creative to make up for it. So going through that little curtain area, this is where most of my vendors actually are. I don't just have a chef, I have an armor smith and a droid engineer and some other things. There you can see the wide shot of that whole room. The Tatooine mediums are actually one of my favorite buildings to work on. I really like how the rooms are divided. Some of the houses, like the Tatooine large, it's just awful to decorate. And I've gotten lost in that building before, so that doesn't fly. So I've kind of got this one set up as the other part of the tea house speakeasy feel with like these low slung tables and there's like a little microphone there. So another trick I really like, and I talk about this in the article, are those pallets that I've kind of pulled down and used as like a fake ceiling, like a low ceiling. It makes this whole area look even more sunken. I mean, it already goes down into the floorway, but it makes it come down even more. And then this part just boom, it looks really, really tall. It is tall, but now it looks extra tall. And this is where I actually sell all of my chef food. That is my Ithorian vendor. She's tired. Oh, look, she's got to stretch. Oh yeah. Yeah, what am I paying her for? So yeah, you can actually in this game you can come in and you can click on the vendors and buy stuff. So I don't actually have to sell my stuff myself. They can come and buy stuff. So here's my upstairs. This is actually a relatively new addition to this house. Like some of the stuff downstairs has been like that for like 2 years. Like it was like the first thing I rebuilt to make it look like my old house. This room in my old house was not that interesting. It literally just had those planets kind of like floating in the sky. I was just creatively tapped at that point. So here I decided to actually build like just another kind of lounge area. You know, you got this widescreen TV and this little round circle of chairs. I really love that trick. I used that in one of my old buildings on Starsider, so I wanted to bring that back here. Just little decorative things. It's not too heavy compared to parts downstairs. I didn't like cover every wall, but it's still got like the greenery and the fireplaces and all that stuff. And my little trick with the wooden cabinets with like those are actually paintings flipped upside down. Like I was gonna show you, but I didn't want to turn the UI back on and spoil all this. But that's really what that is. That's two items stacked on top of each other to make it look like it's some sort of paper paneling, and it's totally not. That's literally the butt side of a painting. All right, so we're back down in the middle floor showing the other angle of that particular room. I'm going to go through. Now, I have these curtains set up specifically because otherwise I stand in my workshop while people are at the vendor buying food and they can like look into the doors and see me and it kind of freaks me out, especially if I'm going AFK a lot. So I hung the curtains there so that when the doors open involuntarily nobody can see me. I'm a little paranoid like that. But anyway, you go down the stairs. I've got a little, some little vignettes set up here just honestly, because this is kind of dead space in the house, there's not a whole lot you can do here. That's really all that interesting, I don't think. So I've just kind of made it a nice calming area. Not much to it. Plus, I got to keep my little Torton in the pool. And then here, again, this is a relatively new area of my house. I always had all of these bioengineer, the little incubators down here. I used to have a lot more of them. I had one for every character, but I don't really do that much anymore. So I decided to kind of renovate, I don't know, a month or two ago, don't remember. I kept a couple of the incubators, but mostly I did my paper paneling trick again, and I kind of made it look, you know, more cozy. I love those big storage containers. If you play the game, you should look those up because they allow you to. You can put storage containers inside of other storage containers, which is not normally something you can do in SWG, and I really love it. And then I've got this little setup over here with a few of my favorite things. Of course, you guys know I love my Jawas, so they're set up over there. And another of my tricks, I really love putting sparklers into things to make it look like they're like electrical fires waiting to happen. So there's not that much to that room, but it's kind of like a second private area over by my workshop, which is where we are heading next. Yay! So this is the room that I decorated most recently and kind of the reason I decided to do all of this in the first place. I love this room. I spend probably 95% of my time in this room, and the rest of the 5% of the time is like spent in my backyard on factories or at the bazaar. I mean, let's be honest, that's my reality. So this is my room where I store all of my resources, so I can kind of hang out in here and craft and craft and craft schematics, endless schematics. All of those containers I just showed along the wall, those hold all of my resources. Most of them are getting close to full. I'm gonna have to figure out something else, but and of course, I have my infamous hot tub, which absolutely slays me every time I think about it because there's just, I don't know what it is, but I think it's absolutely hilarious that I could sit in this hot tub and like craft. And nobody can stop me. This is just such a weird thing. It's not really a hot tub, it's a fountain, and then I've taken some long tables and kind of stacked them up on top of it. So it looks like it's kind of bordered, and I've even got my little drink. Check it out. I can have my little festive drink while I'm crafting droids in the pool. Everything is fine. Don't worry about me. So anyway, I've got that all set up just because it's pretty and it makes a nice fountainy noise. Of course, you can see all my bunting. I've joked about this on other podcasts. All the little glowing fairy lights just they get me. I love them. So I have this, and this was sort of inspired by one of my old houses too, but this is like way better. In fact, this was something we used to do back when my guild still played this game. We started out in Kenmore. That was a long time ago, and we put a hot tub in our cantina, like in one of the little alcoves, and it was like a joke, but people loved it. Like we would have people come to hang out in our hot tub. I can't believe I'm saying this. Anyway, that was really fun. Um, Here's just another angle where you can see those stupid doors that just open when you're like 10 feet away from them. And I just can't stand people staring at me while I'm trying to craft, especially when you're crafting. You're kind of just staring vapidly at the wall, and it doesn't really look like you're crafting. It just looks like you're catatonic. So I don't really like it when people can see me. And of course, I've got my Princess Leia painting on the wall because she is my hero. So this end is kind of the place where I actually craft when I'm not being a total juvenile and crafting in my hot tub. I've got this little setup here. I'm actually really proud of this. This had all of my crafting stations before, and they're ugly. Crafting stations in this game are so ugly. The textures are ugly. They're gray. They have green flashing lights. They are not pretty. I was like, why? Why am I looking at this? This is Star Wars Galaxies. You can do anything. I'll just cover them up. So that's what I did. I have a bunch of little pieces of containers and cabinets, and things are flipped around, so it's just completely covered. You would never know. I'm guessing somebody who doesn't play the game has no idea what I'm even talking about. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference, but SWG people know that's a feat right there. And then more recently, I redid this kind of dead corner of the room. I wanted something that I don't know. I wanted another place to sit that wasn't that wasn't the office and wasn't the hot tub. So that's what this is. I kind of rehashed some of the ideas from some of the other rooms where I've got the little circle of chairs and a little table, and of course the little the chandeliers, the hanging lanterns. That was actually inspired by a picture I saw from the Star Wars park at Disney. And I don't know if it's like the cantina or something. I need to look up exactly what it is. I'll put a picture when I can find it. But I just thought it was so cool and so Star Warsy looking that I really wanted to try to recreate it. I don't think I quite succeeded because the lanterns in this game are kind of big and tech looking as opposed to, they don't have the antique kind of dusty Tatooine style feel. They're very camp tech in this game. But I think it's something I've never seen it before. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. No, I've never seen anybody else do this before, and I like it. So it's a fun little cozy place to hang out, or like sometimes I've got multiple characters logged in because I need them for different things or whatnot. So it's just an extra place to hang out. It's totally unnecessary. All of this is totally unnecessary. Like you can do everything in this game out of a tent if you really really wanted to. But that's no fun. I want to build pretty things. So that is basically every room in this house all laid out for you, and I've put all kinds of pictures in the actual article if you're interested in, not bobbing around with my camera and dealing with the camera angles, not constantly twitching. Those are all in the article. I hope it was fun to watch, even if you don't play the game, honestly, because I think housing in every game is fun. If you're into it, you're gonna really like this. Anyway, if you see this and you figure out where my house is on Omega, come say hi, but don't peek through the doors, you weirdo. You can swim in the hot tub though. I'll allow this. Later, everybody.